Good morning and good afternoon to everybody that's joining today's webinar, How to Sell PPAs with Confidence. We're excited to have you join us and we appreciate you taking the time to be here. Today's webinar is designed to help teams sharpen their prepaid PPA sales strategy, build confidence in conversations with homeowners, and walk away with practical insights they can immediately apply. Before we get started, just a few quick housekeeping items. This session is being recorded and will be shared with all attendees afterward. All participants are currently muted to minimize background noise. If you have questions throughout the webinar, please drop them in the chat box and we'll do our best to answer as many as possible during the Q&A portion at the end. Now I'm excited to introduce today's speakers. First, we have Dean, Chief Revenue Officer at Solar Insure. Dean brings extensive experience in solar sales leadership, partnerships, and business growth with a strong focus on helping teams create trust-driven sales strategies that convert. Joining him is Austin from HDM Renewable Finance, who brings valuable expertise in today's webinar topic. Together, they'll be sharing real-world insights, strategies, and actionable takeaways around positioning and selling PPAs more effectively and confidently. We're looking forward to a great conversation today. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Dean to get it started.
All right. Thank you all, and thank you, Austin, for joining today. And we know that the industry is kind of reset this year with 25D gone. And, traditionally, folks have had just a few ways to go solar: cash, loan, long-term 25-year TPO, or something in the middle, prepaid PPA. And really, what is the best fit for your customers out there? And that's what we're gonna talk about today, and really kind of the ins and outs of what a prepaid PPA is versus what a lease might be, and also asking the tough questions like, what is the service level between years 1 and 6? How does the system transfer? Really, what does what happens if an installer exits the industry, and how does this project get supported long term? So all of these things are going to help you to build trust in the home, build trust within your business, and help your salespeople to be able to have confidence when they are selling prepaid PPAs. And really, the main thing is building trust and having customer focus and elevating the standards in the industry. And we're here to discuss those things today and educate ones here to be able to do that. Whether you are a lender or you are a contractor, EPC, or you're a salesperson, or you're just interested in learning more about our industry, we're happy to have you here. Now I'm going to turn things over to Austin, and he's going to discuss a little bit about HDM and answer some of those questions that I brought up. And we'll be able to answer some questions at the end as well.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Dean. Thanks for having me. Excited. This has been a long time coming. Prepaids in general have gotten a huge spotlight, right, in the last 6 to 8 months, right? Primarily because the big, beautiful bill, right, positioning and leaving the 25D behind and putting a little bit more forefront on the 48E tax credit. Prepaids have been able to kind of step in and add a lot of value, right, to installers and contractors across the country. So the good news about HDM, I'll start with, is that this isn't new to us, right? It's new to the industry, right? And there's new companies, right, that have been created in the last 6 months, right, that are offering prepaids. We've confidently been doing this for 8 years, right? Have tens of thousands of systems under management. And so excited to be able to kind of help add a little bit of expertise to this, answer questions, right, at the end of this, and add a lot of clarity to what's going on in the market, and see if we can't help homeowners go solar. So I want to start here briefly. I'm not going to go through all of this. I'll focus mainly on the key talking points. But a prepaid PPA is in the words, right? It's an agreement to purchase power, right? 20 years worth of power upfront, right? At a one-time rate. So we're agreeing to purchase power upfront because it's in that structure, right? It allows us as HDM to be able to claim that tax credit on the homeowner's behalf. So we start with that first one, saving money now. They can take the advantage of that tax credit today, right? Upfront. We are going to pay the installer a percentage of that total system cost. that installer is going to discount that percentage to the homeowner, and we're able to claim the tax credit. Homeowner gets an upfront discount. Installer is able to make the same margin that they wanted before. And HDM is able to run a business, right? And profit through the tax credit. So first one's that immediate savings. Second is the big key to this too, is the no cost transfer to that homeowner and how that process works. At the end of year 6, that homeowner has the option to take ownership back, right? It's a 20-year prepaid PPA, so they don't have to take ownership back at the end of year 6. They can stay on post year 6. We have a small admin fee that's there where we stay on and help to ensure, maintain, monitor, right, watch that system and make sure that it's producing for that remaining 20 years. But at year 6, if they want to take the ownership back, they have that option. And that option is clearly defined in our agreement, right? That they have the ability to take that 14 years that's left of power, right? There's an amount that 14 years of power is worth, and credit that right towards the actual system costs and take that ownership back. So that's a very common question, right? That comes along with prepaids. I will say that we have been confidently doing that for 2 years, right? We're the only prepaid out there currently that's actually transferring systems. And we have been, and we're actively doing that. That will be a big part of our business in the next couple of years, right? As that becomes, as our sales kind of catch up with that, right? Obviously, our first year in business, we were doing hundreds, and right now we're doing tens of thousands. And so that will be a big part of our business, is that transfer piece here in the coming years. So number 3, that 6 years of production guarantee monitoring. We insure those systems, which is a key differentiator between us and others, right? We're insuring both the tax credit and tax position, and also the actual system for that homeowner, right? So that's not on them, that's on us. So why the Solar Insure partnership works so great is because post year 6, that homeowner wants ownership, right? And that's the common trend, is that they want that system to be transferred back to them. So then post year 6, here comes Solar Insure to continue with that full warranty all the way through year 30, right? And then number 4, future proof. So currently, right, if you're selling ownership, we feel like this is the best opportunity to sell that path to ownership while still monetizing that tax credit. But as you know, and as everyone knows, 4080 ends, right? There's a deadline to it, right? Solar ends at the end of 2027 and battery goes through 2032. So we've taken that into account, and we safe harbor billions of dollars already worth of equipment that will extend that runway for us well past 2027, right? And so we've kind of seen that foresight. Our goal is to work with our distribution partners, right? We've purchased that equipment, get into the hands of that distribution, and you don't skip a beat, right? The goal is for you to be able to sell that system, install that system, and get that equipment just like you're doing today, right? Might require a couple additional photos, right, for us to be able to verify that is the safe harbored equipment. But outside of that, our goal is to try and help you sell solar like you've been selling solar for 10, 20 years, right? That's the whole purpose of this prepaid, is go sell ownership again, right? Sell cash and loan, right? That's what homeowners, the majority of the market's driving towards and what they want. So this allows them to do that. And we don't have that kind of ticking time bomb of 2027, right? What's going to happen at the end of it? We've already put everything in place to be able to make sure that we are here well beyond that. And that's also if legislation doesn't change, right? Who knows what the next couple of years hold? We've been in a whirlwind of legislation changes in the last couple of years, and I think we're due for one to go in our favor on the solar side. So I'm hopeful that, hey, something does change. But let's say that it doesn't. We are primed and ready to be able to go for many years post this credit ending. So any questions there, Dean, that you want to pose, or jump on to the next one?
No, I think you answered all the tough questions about the transfer of ownership, all right, after year 6, and making sure that this is a path to ownership. It could be paid for with cash or a loan. And I And it is something that can be solar insure can be added in with at the beginning in the
Yeah,
overall cost of solar.
love it. Let's go on to that next slide. So briefly, I just wanted to show how it's sold and show a quick economics on the math, right? So I'll start on the math part. In this example, we're going to go 35,000 on the solar system, 15,000 on the battery for a total of 50,000 for easy math. In this example, we're paying out a 30% discount. I'll show you our pricing here in just a second, depending on a few different parameters, energy communities, domestic content. There's different levels to, different percentages that we pay out for. But for this example, we're just going to talk 30 for easy math. On a $50,000 deal, 30% off of 50 grand is 15,000. That 30% is going to be paid to the installer from HDM. So we pay the installer that 15,000, which then allows the installer to go and sell that system for 35,000 to the homeowner, 70% of that total system cost. So in this transaction, you'll see that money is not paid to us from the homeowner, like a typical TPO on a monthly basis. The installer's collecting the payment from the homeowner on our behalf, and then we are paying the installer that 30% number to make that 50,000 whole, right? We have different milestones and different payments for that discount to the homeowner. I'm sorry, that discount that we're paying to you. But typically it ends up being about an 85-15 or 90-10 split, right? That you're getting both at install and at PTO, right? Between those two of the total system cost, right? Breaking down what the lender is giving you via cash, or the homeowner's giving you via cash, or the lender's giving you, and what we're paying. So again, average about 85-15, 90-10 is the split between install and PTO, being the two different milestones. So there's the math side. I'm going to walk you through on that left side just really quickly how this is sold, right? So sitting with the homeowner, it's sold like you've been selling solar for the last 10, 20 years, right? Don't change your process. Price it where you want to price it. We obviously have some price caps in place, but they're pretty conservative. So you're able to get those systems under those caps. You go sell a homeowner just like you are today. The pivot comes with the tax credit, right? Instead of, hey, the tax credit's available, it's, hey, Mr. Homeowner, as you know, tax credit isn't available. But good news, we have a company called HDM that can actually claim it on your behalf through this prepaid PPA structure. And it's actually better than it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? Because it's an upfront discount today, right? We don't have to wait on that or maybe get that tax credit over multiple years. It's taken upfront today because HDM's covering that with us on the back end. So you sell solar just like normal, pivot at the tax credit. You take that 30% discount off. You go sign an install agreement on your paper for that discounted amount, right? In that example over here for 35,000, right? You're gonna go charge that homeowner 35,000. If they want to go finance that system, you can. Have a couple lenders on here. We have some big announcements coming in the works here soon for some bigger lender partners. That'll be a huge advantage to the game. Currently, there's a lot of credit unions, right, that are qualified to be able to finance prepaids, Credit Human, Wheelhouse, Almica, et cetera, right? Depending on the states we're in, I'll show you that here last. We have probably 15 to 20 lenders across all those states that finance prepaids currently. So you can connect with us and we can connect you with those lenders. So you sign the install agreement, you sign the loan docs if they're financing it, and then they do one more thing, you sign it from our portal. So we have some integrations with some proposal tools where that will be sent automatically. If not, you're going into our portal, you're going in and putting in some customer information. It takes about 60 to 90 seconds. You send out that DocuSign, they sign it, it's complete, and then we have a confirmation survey. That's a part of it as well, just to verify that the customer knows what they're signing up for. It's a prepaid PPA. They have the option to get that system back at the end of year 6, and that they're using it basically for solar and battery only. So it's very simple questions, and that's all automated in our system as a part of our process. So that's kind of beginning to end. Again, our goal with our teams and our contractors is to allow them to sell solar confidently like they have been. We've been through a whirlwind, as Dean mentioned, in the last 8 to 12 months. And so a lot of our partners have gotten some comfort back, and the sales reps have gotten some confidence back in the home to be able to sit there and pitch solar like they want to, right? With that upfront discount and still with that path to ownership there. So perfect. Let's go with next slide, please. And I'll touch on this one very briefly. This is just a quick kind of synopsis of price caps currently and where they exist. Happy to share this as we go on. A lot of our partners obviously already have this, but there's kind of your structure as it is on there. We'll go to the next slide. Awesome. So we'll end with this, and I'll show you a quick map of where we are. As we mentioned before, there's other products in the market. And I think prepaids in the last 6 months have kind of been lumped in synonymously together, right? I've been in solar 14 years. I use the term lease and PPA fairly synonymously as well for the last couple of years, right? Because it's in most people's minds, it's the same thing. When we're talking the prepaid structure, it's very different, right? And it's a very different offering to the homeowner. Being able to buy and purchase power and leasing equipment structurally is very different. And so this kind of just gives you a little bit of a rundown differently of how it affects the homeowner, right? We have a production guarantee with our system. We underwrite that system. We proactively monitor it for that term. And then when we're taking off at year 6, Solar Insure is right there to back it up and continue that monitoring. We have a confirmation call. We have price caps in place to make sure that everything is set and that it's at a proper selling point. We have customer support on our team. And 2 big ones, right? Insurance. We insure those systems, right? Ourselves. We both insure the system, as we mentioned, and we insure our tax position, right? With institutional capital. It's a very different structure and allows a lot more safety and security for that homeowner to know that we're going to be around long term and that we're also helping to insure that system. Grid services and battery. We do not manipulate that battery, right? And give the homeowner options in areas for VPP type programs where if they want to use that battery with the grid and get some benefits, they can. But that is not forced, right, on the homeowner. That's completely optional for them to be able to choose how they want to use that battery in whatever scenario, in whatever capacity. So a lot of structural differences on the back end, right? As far as like how they're created. I think the biggest one is just we've been doing this for 8 years, right? That prepaid PPA structure is tried and true. We've been through 8 different tax cycles and have submitted tens of thousands of deals and have proven that structure is there and that it works. You combine that with all the benefits that it offers to the homeowner, we feel like it's a very compelling offering. So we go to the next slide. Perfect. I'll end here, and then I'm tired of hearing my voice too, so we'll let Dean do his thing and talk about Solar Insure and how all this works. And potentially, if we have time at the end, answer any questions, and feel free, you guys can put those in the chat here. But here's a current list of where we are. Arizona's a battery-only state, right? Because it's a lease state. And so it's a battery-only because our battery product is actually an ESSA. It's a different type of structure, so it works there. We are aggressively growing and expanding. Illinois will be open hopefully in the next 2 weeks. And then we're starting to kind of take over the East Coast a little bit. There's a few more that aren't on here that are pending. We're getting a big push for Oregon as well. Feel free to reach out to me directly, right? If there's a state that's pressing and that you felt a need to get there. We have a lot of tax already advice and structure and background in a lot of these states. And it's really just barring good partnerships, right? That's the only thing that's kind of holding us back is someone saying, hey, we need this state. That's kind of what prompted where we were at currently, right? It was just current partners, current volume, and the necessity for that state. So anyway, we're excited. We're primed and ready. Capital is flowing in on the tax equity side. We have the room to be able to grow and expand as quickly and efficiently as you all want to with us. So we also have currently looking back again, 3 years ago, it's crazy. That's when I started with HDM as the director of sales at that time, doing decent volume in California to now 8, 9, 10 states, Puerto Rico. It's incredible to see where we were with 5, 10 employees, and now we're 60, 70 plus strong, and growing and adding to that every single day. So excited for what's to come. Grateful for the partners that are on here that are making us look good out there in the field, and we're doing our best to be able to help support you and do that as well. So Dean, I'll pass it over to you.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that clear and transparent explanation. I know you didn't have to share all that information in there about pricing, about how it transfers, the differences, out there, because there are many prepaid financing products out there, and how you differentiate that. And if there's anyone on here that has questions or wants this in a certain market, put it in the chat, and we can answer some of those questions later on and in this meeting, and also reach out after as well. But if you have any hard questions for Austin, this is the place for it, right? And for me as well. So
Bring it on.
we're here to be able to help and answer those. So let's go ahead and move to the next slide, please. All right. So as we talked about, industry conditions are always ever changing. You talk to people out there, industry folks, and some say, hey, this feels like more of a normal year than ever. Other people say, like, this is the weirdest year in solar I've ever had, right? But hey, like, if you're like me and you adapt to change, things are always changing. It's kind of exciting. But at the same time, we're definitely seeing more distrust, unfortunately, from the homeowners due to the negative press that we see based on. Sorry about that. There was a mute issue there. Yeah, so based on what's happening in the market, even in the top headlines. But, and that creates consumer skepticism, right? It also, we've seen solar folks leave our industry. We've seen major layoffs too, and people not even stay in the industry. But we want people to stay in the industry, and basically, making sure that the customer has the customer focus is there. The customer is taken care of, not just from years 1 to 6, but from years 1 to 30. And where do you as the EPC or contractor come in when it comes to benefiting from the service work? And then you as the solar sales professional in the home, how will that help you have confidence in selling these prepaid PPAs? And then how does that benefit you later for referrals? All of these things really are important. And then knowing the life cycle of solar and the owner clarity and how it transfers, and making sure that you give a consultative approach to the homeowner, and it's not just a one size fits all, right? Because there are several options out there, and finding out what really the homeowner's needs are, and I've always said ownership is the best way to go solar, right? I've always believed that, and I think a lot of people in our industry do believe that. And this prepaid PPA is somewhere in the middle, right, where it's a path to ownership. And so let's go ahead and talk about how we can navigate through this. Let's go to the next slide, please. So usually contractors come to Solar Insure when they're facing consumer skepticism due to the negative press that we see happening in our industry, or their service department is more of a loss leader than a profit center, or they are just tired of competing on price and they really don't have a differentiator. And we definitely seen like where the gap is, and the opportunity for the providers to be able to lead in their region and lead in their market. And where that opportunity is to build trust with that consumer, to be able to shift that loss center on the service side to a profit center, and build that long-term value, and be able to help take care of that system and that homeowner long term, and being that energy service provider in your region. Next slide, please. So what we've done is we have 3 products in the SI30 suite. It's SI30 Solar, SI30 Battery, and SI30 Total. Now, SI30 Total takes both the solar portion and the battery portion of our 30-year warranties and combines them, and it's at a lower cost if you were to buy them separately. And the way that Solar Insure works with HDM is that we distribute our products through contractors at this time. And you as a contractor can fill out an application and get signed up with Solar Insure to be able to offer this product to your prospective solar and battery buyers. And what this does is we ask you to lead with the product. You're not contractually obligated to put this on every single sale. But what we do is we invest in you and to educate you and educate your team on how to utilize this at the kitchen table, on a door knock, or on a virtual call, and to be able to build that trust up front and take care of all the elephants in the room, right? What happens if something breaks and who pays for it? Is this transferable? What happens if the installer goes out of business? Or what happens if the manufacturer is no longer around? And you allay those, and you can talk about the more important things about building an asset for their family, being energy independent, and being able to make sure that they are building an asset for their family as well. So we do this through the SI30 Total in our SI30 products. And it's 30-year warranty on solar equipment. It's the major components. It's the panels, inverters, optimizers, racking, and we do cover roof penetrations. And this is for 30 years. And we cover 1 battery replacement after the manufacturer warranty expires, when the battery fails or goes below 50% capacity. And during the manufacturer warranty, we do cover truck rolls and labor to remove and replace defective components. Most of the manufacturers out there don't cover labor, and HDM does cover labor, and they contract that with the contractor. And if they pay competitive rates, but if it does take you longer, you could actually then at that point charge Solar Insure for the difference of that under covered claims within the claims caps that Solar Insure has. And we do cover up to 2 truck rolls and 4 hours per component, and 10 hours, up to 10 hours and 2 truck rolls for the roof penetration coverage. So all of these things combined together creates what really matters to homeowners. They want to know, are my parts and labor covered? Am I going to get a battery replacement in here after the manufacturer warranty expires? What happens if the manufacturer is no longer around? Is this warranty going to transfer if I sell my house, right? Or when HDM transfers the system to me, which it does. And there's no other fees associated or any deductibles when it comes to this. It's all put in the overall cost upfront with the overall cost of the solar package and through the loan that the lender that you would utilize this, or cash payment by the homeowner. And then they get that roof penetration coverage as well. So this just gives them really a great way to build that trust up front, show that you have customer focus, show that you care about not only just the short term, but the long term care of that customer. And, if heaven forbid, your company is not there anymore, or even if HDM exits the market, the Solar Insure warranty is still there. And that is the assurance that I think our industry really needs right now, because we've seen good companies no longer come around. We've seen some not so good ones as well, but really well-meaning people that really want to take care of their homeowners, right? But they're just not around anymore. So this is something that should be put in place as an infrastructure inside the full financial product. to take care of the full life cycle to keep the system running, up and running for 30 years. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next slide, please. So what does it mean to be a Solar Insure certified provider? Well, our Solar Insure certified providers do go through a vetting process. Not everyone is able to offer Solar Insure, and not everyone is a good fit. And just to really to be upfront, right? And that's okay, right? But the ones that we do work with and that are a good fit, we deliver amazing results. And what we do is we give each one of our providers a letter of reference that tells the homeowner that we checked the credit rating, we checked the financials, we have gone over the insurance and the licensing. Are there any OSHA violations? And that they have a good reputation in the industry, and that they do follow the warranty and compliance at Solar Insure. And this just puts you head and shoulders above your competition. And not everybody is able to have a prepaid PPA at this time. So you have one competitive advantage there, but stacking Solar Insure with HDM is just like a great pair for you to have to be able to differentiate yourself at that kitchen table. And this really does help you to be able to overcome a lot of those customer objections. It helps that sales conversation to go faster and easier, and the homeowners go solar easier and with more peace of mind. And then on the flip side, on the back end, your service department can send invoices to Solar Insure, and we pay you to do the service work. And remember, this doesn't cost your company anything. This is a pass-through cost to the homeowner within the contract. They pay for it, you collect the money, and you send it to Solar Insure. So we teach you how to do all these things. It might sound like that we are pretty rigorous, but we actually make it a smooth onboarding process, and you have a dedicated full service account manager, and the customer focus is where we are. We aim to be the best vendor in the industry and your best vendor. And so that your dedicated account manager is going to make sure that you have all the power behind Solar Insure, finance, marketing, our claims department, and all of the tools that you need to be successful with our product in the industry. We invest that time in you. And again, all of that comes with being able to offer Solar Insure. So let's go to the next slide, please. So really the Solar Insure advantage with HDM Renewable Finance are really about building trust and loyalty within the industry, getting referrals as time goes on, because every service department that we work with, they prioritize Solar Insure sites because they get paid to do those. And we give them we give you very good robust rates to be able to take care of those homeowners and incentivize you to take care of those homeowners. And this enhances your brand, giving you more referrals as time goes on, and it de-risks your business. It shifts the risk of the warranty off of your balance sheet onto ours, right? And then you rely on us to be able to help support your business. And let alone that this does help you to have faster and easier, less cancellations, and close more deals as time goes on. So remember, if you want to offer our solar only, our battery only product, or SI30 total, and combine those together, we are going to have a code here on the next slide, and you're welcome to fill out an intake form for us. And then we can get together, talk about what your goals are, and see if we might be able to help you and help each other, right? To be able to be successful in this market. Now, I think that's all I have. We do have Austin's information here as well for you to be able to check out and see if you want to join HDM and see if you can get onboarded with them. And we'll take a look at some of the questions right now.
Got a couple on here, Dean. I'll speak to a few as we
Sure.
end this and wrap up. They'd asked about when is the installer getting paid that 30% from our side. We have different milestones, right? Depending, typically that's paid at PTO, but we do have programs, right, for partners who are willing to commit to us. We have what's called advanced pay, where we can pay quicker, right, in 50-50 increments, or even more aggressive than that over time. So yeah, lots of options there. We're trying to get you paid quickly, and keeping in mind the 30% we're paying, like our, call it a 50-50 split. That's of the 30%, right? So you're still going to go get the 75% from the homeowner, 70% upfront from the homeowner via cash, via finance, and then our percentage is coming there. So that's where that 85-15, 90-10 split comes when we're talking about the total project cost. So yeah, it's a great question.
All right, awesome. Hopefully that answered your question. Go ahead and put that in the chat if you have any more. I'm going to answer this one from Jason, and he said that they had just become a master installer with SunPower when they went bankrupt, and that really hurt them. But fortunately, they were sold leases that were transferred. How would you handle a situation where you partnered with an installer who went bankrupt in a market with limited options to replace that installer? So that's a great question. Solar Insure has a network of over 200 installers plus service providers, and we would just have another one of those service providers or installers to be able to perform that service work and pay them to do it. And we have tens of thousands of systems today where the original contractor sold our warranty and it was paid for, and we're honoring our commitments every single day. We've come full cycle on that, and also if HDM needs any help on that as well, we can refer a service provider to them as well to be able to help take care of those things. Do you see any other question for you? All right.
Yeah, there's a bunch firing over here. I'll just try to answer as many as I can as they come in. They said, what happens if an HDM client sells their home, right, in year 3? And then there's also, what if they don't want the HDM partnership? So I'll answer it first. It's a very simple transfer agreement, right? During that 6-year term, we do that on a weekly basis, right? We do those all the time with realtors or the actual homeowner reaching out saying, hey, we're reaching our home. So we'll have that document get sent to the old homeowner and the new homeowner. Simple transfer agreement. They then take over the next 3 years, right, until that transfer can occur. So pretty simple process there. If they don't want to be in the HDM partnership, that's kind of a unique one. We've never ran across that because it's already been prepaid, right? So really, it's usually just an education. Someone's like, well, I don't want a lease or I don't want a PPA. It's like, well, good news, it's already been prepaid, right? This isn't like a monthly where you're coming in and committing. Like the previous homeowner already paid for this, right? And so all you're doing is getting an additional couple years of warranty here, right? And so yeah, that's typically the most common, is they have a question about it because they don't understand that it's been prepaid and that process works. So cool.
Okay, I got this one from Chris Brown. He says, does Solar Insure still require contractors to include Solar Insure with every project they install? And the simple answer is no. But we do know what works and what doesn't work. So what we do is we train all of the salespeople in the organizations that we work with to lead with Solar Insure, and only take it off if they're in a price competitive situation, and then walk off the coverage. And we see a high 90th percentile utilization of our product voluntarily in organizations, if not 100%, on qualifying projects. So I hope that helps answer your question there, Chris. Do you have another one, Austin, or do you want me to run to the next one?
You can do your next one. Yeah, there's a bunch. I'm just trying to summarize. Some of these have already been asked. So you do yours. Cool. I'm just trying to summarize a bunch of these as we're going.
All right. So Jason Leach, from the CEO from Top Sun Ace, He asked, it seems like Solar Insure now offers varying levels of protection that we can offer at point of sale. Do I see that correctly? And we do, right? So if you're selling solar only, we do have the solar only and a battery add-on. We do have SI30 battery. And then we have SI30 total. Do you have to put SI30 total on all solar and battery installations? Well, no, but the way the pricing works is you get a lower pricing when you combine them together. And sometimes it just makes more sense to keep it all together and to protect the whole system. And then it's also gives the homeowner a lot more clarity on knowing that all the equipment, major equipment components on their system are covered for 30 years, because there's varying lengths of warranties with inverters. In general, their hybrid inverters have a 10-year warranty. So now it's got a 30-year warranty. And same thing on the battery. Between years 11 and 30, when the battery fails or goes below 50% capacity, that it covers that one replacement. So thank you so much for your question on that, Jason.
Awesome. I'll jump in here real quick. Again, there's a bunch. So sorry, I'm not getting to all these. I'm trying to get to as many as I can as they're coming in. But when someone asked about the confirmation call, when does the confirmation call happen and what type of questions are asked? So the confirmation call is automatic. We use a program called Call Pilot. So once the PPA is signed, that homeowner gets, and the salesperson gets, a link. That link opens up a video call. It takes about 90 seconds. And it's very simple. They understand they're entering into a prepaid power purchase agreement, right? They have the opportunity to get that system back at the end of year 6, that they're only using solar and battery for this, that you aren't throwing in windows and a pool and a car, right? You're financing it with those pieces in mind, just the solar and the battery. And then it talks a little about the warranties. And then the last question is just making sure that nothing was promised that the sales rep said that wasn't written clearly in the agreement, and then all your questions have been answered about the prepaid PPA and the contractual agreement there. So very simple questions. If you don't want that to be done automatically, we have a lot of larger partners that already have a confirmation call process in place. So you just add our couple questions to the end of your agreement and upload that when you go to get funding. So if you use our process, it's automated. If you want to go through their system, like your own system, and record those questions, you can. So there's also a ton of questions about the year 6 transfer. That's very common. I'm happy to reach out individually and run a training on that as well. We can get as granular as you want to get. So fill out this form, put that in the notes. Let's schedule a call with myself or someone on our team to walk through a little bit more in detail. I'll touch on a couple of these. They just said at the end of year 6, who's responsible for the transfer? Does the client reach out to HDM, or do we reach out? We reach out, right, to them and walk them through that option. At that point, here's the process, or if you want to stay on, here's the process. And so we're actively doing that. Again, I've been doing that for 2 years. Someone had asked about some proof of that. We are working on that actively right now. We're working on a little marketing campaign and getting like some videos and some testimonials of people that have actually transferred systems and how smooth and simple that process was. So I know that will help a lot, because that's probably the number one question that a homeowner has, is how that happens and when it happens. And if we can add some clarity to that and have some proof of it, I think that'd be great. So, and then when does the 6-year period begin upon installation or PTO? On our side, it's at PTO, right when that system is turned on. So,
all right. It also asked, there was a question about production guarantee. Solar Insure is not a production guarantee. The production guarantee comes straight across with HDM, and it's their production guarantee. And they're asking when does that get handled, Austin? The 85%. Yeah.
Good question. It happens one time at the end of year 6. So when that whole transfer conversation is happening, that's when we're also looking at production over that 6-year term. Hey, it overproduced or it underproduced, and if it underproduced, that's where we would obviously pay that production guarantee. So yeah, just a one time over that 6-year period, and everything's happening at that transfer time.
Right, awesome. I don't know if I don't see any other ones that we haven't answered. Do you see any there, Austin, or
no? I think there's a lot of just repeat ones. I think that's the bulk of it for sure.
All right. Well, now is your last chance. If you have a question,
That's right.
feel free to do that. But as we we have Alan Tro. He's asking, please confirm battery replacement. Is every battery replaced after their warranty expires? Every battery, like if you have a battery stack or if you have a cabinet with a bunch of batteries in there, per serial number, they each get a one-time replacement when they fail or go below, when they go below 50% capacity after the manufacturer warranty expires, up to 30 years. So we all know. You're welcome, Alan. Yeah, thank you. All right, great. And so what we wanted to do, in an industry that's kind of a little muddy, right? We want to just clear the air on this because a lot of people are talking about prepaid PPAs, and we hope that you found that this has been educational for you. And really, that's what we're here about really to do, is kind of to set things straight, to be transparent, to be open, right? And to build trust. And really, I think, Austin, thank you so much for joining us here at Solar Insure today to talk about this. And we welcome others if you want to be on a webinar like this, and your company does, whether you're a manufacturer, a lender, or even an EPC. If you want to be able to do something like this, happy to be able to share your information with the industry. And if you like this, let's see some emojis out there. And Austin, do you have any final words there?
Yeah, I final words are, let's let this not be the end, right? Feel free to reach out. I know I see a ton of questions pour in. Click on this link, shoot us a message. Happy to answer any and all these questions regarding commercial. Yes, we do commercial, and a lot of different stuff about process and warranty and different things. So please feel free, reach out. Let's continue that conversation. Excited for this again. Thank you, Dean, for this opportunity. Like you said, there's so much uncertainty going on in solar. I can't think of a better pairing, right, to be able to offer a homeowner with a set upfront discount on their tax credit, them being able to own that system and combining that with a warranty that supersedes all others. I think this is a winning pairing for sure. So again, super grateful. I see a lot of our current partners on this call and maybe some future ones. So grateful for everyone who makes us successful on the back end as well. And thanks for your guys' time.
Yeah. Thank you all.